Welcome to the Reality Transurfing series. I spent about 4 months in the wilderness, as you can see, reading this book, taking extensive notes, and I've spent about another 4 or 5 months thinking about it, checking back on those notes, and integrating it into my mind. So, this book, I've heard about it from a lot of people I look up to. A lot of people talked about it, so I went and got it. There is not much information, though, about that book, summarizing that book, YouTube videos about that book. Aaron Doughty has a little YouTube video. It doesn't really say anything. No offense to him, it's just a little YouTube video, so he's not able to in that format. But this is going to be a full 17-part extensive series outlining the entirety of reality transurfing and making it accessible. So someone who has read the book can go watch this series and be refreshed. Someone who is considering reading this book, who is interested in the concept, can watch this series and get the download. So, like I said, it took me about 4 months to read this book. It's very dense. It's very technical. It's very thorough. And actually, I would say the first half of the book, there's a lot of concepts where you're just like, oh man, this is this, that. The second half of the book, things really come together. So the reason I'm telling you this, I'm going to try and go to the other direction of that, but just the structure of reality transurfing, the conceptual model might be that the first videos in this series, is kind of building. But if this is something you're curious about, I'm going to tell you, it's all going to come together. And so yeah, this is the introduction video, the introduction to reality transurfing. Probably when people ask me my favorite book, I say this is my favorite book. It's absolutely amazing. This is going to be the introduction to the series. After this, we're going to have a video that is the introduction to reality transurfing. So this is just outlining what is the series. I'm going to pick out a couple books. This is going to give you a rough idea of some books that are along the same lines as reality transurfing. And I should have had these ready, but Psycho-Cybernetics. If you've heard of Psycho-Cybernetics, there's a lot of similarities between that and reality transurfing. The Kybalion. If you've heard of or read The Kybalion, there's a lot of similarities between that and reality transurfing. The thing I would say about reality transurfing, it goes into so much depth. If you've read these books, which I had before reality transurfing, you're still going to love reality transurfing. It's very thorough. It's an absolute masterpiece. And you're going to understand these concepts in so much more depth and really know how to make use of them. Power versus force. A lot of similarities. A lot of alignment between the concepts in power versus force and reality transurfing. I would say also with levels of energy, which is pretty much covering the same territory as power versus force. And yeah, we're just going to leave it at that for now. I could go, those are probably the ones that most align with it. So if you're familiar with manifestation, visualization, the subconscious mind, reality transurfing is going to take these concepts, which have in many parts gone into the mainstream, and attack them at the deepest level. Something like the movie The Secret is the opposite end of the spectrum of reality transurfing. Psycho-Cybernetics talks about how your mind is like a heat-seeking missile. Your subconscious mind will bring you towards that which is looping on, that which is within the reality of your subconscious mind, and how to use visualization to reprogram your subconscious mind. Reality transurfing goes far beyond that. Levels of energy and power versus force. They talk a lot about how your inner state, your inner vibrational state on a spectrum, they use a spectrum of 0 to 1,000. It's numerically quantified, reflects in your outer reality. How that happens, right? So if you want a certain outer reality, you'd probably want to focus on your inner reality. Whatever you want in your outer reality is not going to happen. It is impossible that it will happen if your inner reality is not aligned. And yeah, a little more background about what's going to be in this series. I'm going to appeal a little bit to people in the materialistic paradigm. I'm going to help you exit that paradigm. I'm going to give you an opportunity to just drop it for a minute. Just consider these ideas as models that reflect how the world works and see if they work. I'm not going to pander to the materialistic paradigm. I don't want to waste people's time who are not in that paradigm, who are not stuck in a paradigm lock, who are not ideological, but I'll give little windows because I want people who are in it to be able to leave. And I'm not going to explain everything in scientific terms. I'm not going to justify it within the axioms and standards of the materialistic paradigm. So if you're going to stay in that paradigm, you're going to be like, oh, that doesn't make sense because he didn't explain it scientifically. Okay, let's just set that aside for a minute. It's actually going to expand your mind a lot, one way or another, to just set that aside for a minute and get inside the head of someone who's not in the materialistic paradigm. Then you'll understand us delusional people better, whatever it may be. That's it. We're done talking about that. The Kabbalion Hermetic Laws of the Universe talks about, I think there's like 7 Hermetic laws. One of them, as within, so without, as above, so below. That's reflected a lot in reality transurfing, but it's going to go a lot deeper. Like I said, absolutely amazing book. I have been considering shooting this series for a long time. And the way I am going to record these videos is that I am going to do it off the cuff, like I am right now. This is not scripted. Scripting ruins the transmission. It gets me out of a flow state. It makes it... The thing is, with scripting, you will cover all the right content very well. But do you see the energy I'm channeling into this video? I'm in a flow state. I'm not thinking. I'm in a release state. So anyways, I have integrated these concepts enough into my head that I can cover them, I believe, I hope, that's my plan, without having to script. I'm at the point where I think I'm going to be able to record this series, do it with good energy, do it from a state of flow that I really enjoy, by the way, and give you a pretty good idea of what's in this series. So I'm going to do this in the next 3 to 4 hours, and I'm going to upload these videos over the next 17 or 18 days, right? So this is all being done at once. And why is there no video series on reality transurfing on YouTube? Because to go and do this from a very logical state of mind, which is what I originally was planning to do, would be quite the extensive project. But for me, I'm actually getting something out of this. I'm revisiting these concepts. I haven't been thinking about them for 4 months so that I can record the series. I've been doing it because I want to learn the concepts. And now I can just go out here, refresh myself a little, and share this with you. So if you think that might be of value, like I said, stick around, watch the entirety of this series, see how the concepts build together. Take a couple notes if you want. I might cover a concept and you're like, okay, like that doesn't really do anything for me. It is laying the foundation so that you have this grand conceptual model of how reality works. So in the next video, we're going to be getting into what is reality transurfing, a broad overview. I have intentionally not even said what is reality transurfing in this video, but I'm going to give you a little hint before we jump into that. Reality transurfing is not about enlightenment. It is not about the metaphysical truth of the universe, although it is very closely aligned. It is a model that explains how to move within your field of consciousness, within your reality, within your world. And it is very much drawn from the highest state of metaphysical awareness, from a paradigm that is far beyond materialism and is almost non-dual, although the book is not about non-duality. So if you're into spirituality, you're into all that stuff, at a very deep level, meditation, non-duality, everything is one, blah, 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 everything is you. These concepts are going to align with that, although it's not the same thing. It is drawing on a conceptual understanding and a real understanding of how the world works, how reality actually functions for you as a illusory separate self moving through this world, and how to use that to surf realities, to get into the reality that you want, to manifest the things that you want. And what that looks like, not just psychologically, not even just energetically, but just at the deepest level, including energy, including psychology. Like I said, the psycho-cybernetics, very psychological. Levels of energy, very energetic. The Kabbalion is actually kind of on that level. It's like principles of how reality works. But reality transurfing is getting really into that. Yeah. So that is the introduction to the series. The next video is going to be the introduction to the concept of reality transurfing. And then we're going to go through just boom, video over the next 3 to 4 hours. I'm going to be recording all this stuff. Stick around if you've watched to this point, which I don't know if anyone will. This might do well because people go search what is reality transurfing. It might not. But if you understand and appreciate this because you've watched to this point, I'd really appreciate it. Leave a comment, leave a like. My views are getting like 2 to 3 views per video. I just started. So this is something I'm really happy about. If you're excited about it, stick around and watch them and like and comment on every single video. It will really help me out. If you appreciate what I'm doing here, bringing these concepts to this YouTube form. I'm not making money off of this. I'm not selling anything. I want to be able to share this with people because this is something that I've been working on for a long time. Just putting it out there in the future. When I have more of a following, I'll reference people back to this series. So it's going to get more views over time eventually, but it would really help out algorithmically to get to new people, to get to people who surf. If someone goes and searches reality transurfing and this has 2 views, it's not going to come up. Otherwise, it'll come up and people can get a clear idea of the concept of reality transurfing. So I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for watching. Peace.